All right, guys, just a quick update. We're going to go over the recap for the AMA that occurred today, earlier today, much earlier today. As you guys, maybe you guys don't know if you didn't watch my last video, but I was actually on the road traveling. It was a time where I was driving, so I couldn't get on the AMA, the VC myself. I was kind of listening to it, but I was kind of distracted, obviously driving. So I was waiting for the notes to come out. And so Irene, who always does a good job of putting out these recap notes, shout out to Irene. We'll go over some of these notes and talk about the new and improved game theory of why, Forex decided to make a couple of changes. And this is the reason why we're launching. Well, we're scheduled to launch on Tuesday, right? We were scheduled to launch last Tuesday. It was put off for a week. This Tuesday is the projected date. Hopefully, right? Fingers crossed, knock on wood, right? Hopefully, this Tuesday we get everything rocking and rolling. So, that being said, let's cover these notes. Of course, it goes without saying that I'm not a financial advisor. Never take anything I say as financial advice. If you are going to get into the animal farm or drip or anything I talk about, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and only put in risk capital, guys. Okay, funds you can afford to lose. Also, follow me on Telegram. I will leave a link for that down below. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, hit subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you'll get notified straight away whenever I do a brand new video. So, that being said, let's go ahead and cover these notes. Forex got on an impromptu VC earlier, where you wanted to talk a little bit about the delay in the launch, talk about some things that he's doing, some changes, some new and improved game theory, and so a lot of people didn't even know he was going to get on. I was actually driving when he was talking. So I did get a little bit. I was listening to it, but like I said before, when you're driving, you're distracted. It's not easy to pay attention. 100%, which is what you should be doing when he's doing over stuff. Because again, especially with the farm, it has a tendency to get complicated at times, right? So let's go ahead and cover this. Again, if this is over your head, or if you don't understand exactly how farming works, or maybe this is a little bit too complex for you. The faucet, if you watch my last video, you can see that the faucet is cranking out daily passive income. Even with all the stuff that's going on and the delay, the faucet is doing its thing, right? So again, if you want to get into the faucet, I will leave a link down below. I'll leave my buddy address. I've had people ask me some crazy questions today. I had a message in my inbox. I'm not going to mention their name because they might be watching this, but they were asking me, hey, how do I get an airdrop without joining your team? And it's like you got to use my buddy address if you want to get an airdrop, right? Everybody wants to get an airdrop, but nobody wants to use my link. It just doesn't work that way. So, again, whether you use my link or not, or you use my buddy address or not, that's totally up to you. I could, you know, uh, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But if you want to get an airdrop, the only way you're gonna get it is if you're using my buddy address, obviously. Okay. So yeah, just crazy. Every time I do an airdrop, I get the craziest questions in my inbox. But anyway, let me reel it back. Stay focused here. This was the notes here. So let's go over it. It says here, Forex starts by saying that they made changes to the farm and game theory, but it's bullish for drip, pigs, and dogs. Okay, so it's going to support the price for these three tokens. Definitely a change that needed to happen, according to Forex. He was hesitant about making any more changes before launch, but whilst they were unable to launch on the 18th for other reasons anyway, he decided to make the change as it was the last chance to make that sort of change. So again, all of this that he decided to do had nothing to do why the farm didn't launch on the 18th. The reason why the farm didn't launch on the 18th, from what I know, from what I understand, is there was a problem with the drip liberation. Um, the person who owns the hosting for that, BB, right, who was one of the main developers for Drip. He was Forex's partner. They've split, they've parted ways, right? And because he owned the hosting, at least this is what my understanding is, they weren't able to access that portion of the farm, which they need, right? So anyway, it wasn't the end of the world. There's ways around it. They're fixing that, so they couldn't launch anyway. So because they couldn't launch anyway, Forex decided to implement some of these different changes. So it says here, he made the call to make the change as it's better for everybody in the long run. It isn't a change that takes weeks. It's already fully implemented. Going to continue testing it over the weekend. An auditing firm came in yesterday to help assess and test it. And again, potentially Tuesday after the weekend is the launch date. So they were talking about Tuesday. We'll see if it's actually Tuesday. Again, for me, I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that it is Tuesday. But um, you know, I'm not holding my breath, right? If it's Wednesday, if it's Thursday, I'm already kind of expecting that. But Forex was talking about Tuesday. It says here the issue that he saw with the game theory with Animal Farm as it was previously set up is that people could use drip BUSD to farm the pig token. This is an issue as there is no vesting on pig tokens like there is for the dog token. So you guys already know with the dog token, you can't just dump your tokens, as soon as they unpause it, right? There's going to be a 90% tax. So you're incentivized to hold it, right? And not sell it and not dump it. Because the longer you hold it, you're going to be rewarded for your loyalty because the taxes will decrease over time. So again, there's like a vesting period for dogs, and pigs doesn't have that. Okay. The vesting model on dog prevents the immediate dumping of the dog token, but there's nothing like that with pigs. The vesting model heavily encourages people to use the dog token in the way it was intended for farming pigs, right? So people are incentivized instead of dumping dogs is to use it, put it into the farm and earn dividends, more specifically pig token, right? Now, little side note, I'm sure there's going to be still people that dump it. They're willing to take that 90% hit. You might say that's stupid. Why would people do that? Because people are people. I mean, they just do wacky things, right? So I'm already expecting some people to do that. But people that are smart and know how this thing works, they're going to want to hold their dog tokens, right? If people can skip the dog vesting by just farming pigs with drip, it makes it so the barrier for farming with dogs is much higher and maybe not worth it for a lot of users. And that's a significant issue with the game theory. Okay, so there's kind of a loophole, not really a loophole, or that's probably like not really the best term, but there's a way to kind of game the system, right? And if there's any way to game the system, people are going to find a way to game it. That's just the way it is. So Forex was already foreseeing that, so he wanted to kind of fix it before we launched. Drip people can use drip to skip the vesting, and this could put out people that were only interested in using the farm and not drip. Forex knew that the game theory and the rest of the farm could overcome that issue with drip farming pigs, but he wanted to change it regardless to make it a better system overall. He wanted to ensure drip and drip holders still have some sort of benefit from the animal farm. Um, didn't change it initially because he didn't have an idea on how to replace that value for drip holders. He knew that if he didn't work out a clever way to help drip have a positive use case in the farm, the drippers would be upset. So it says here, removing drip BUSD from earning pigs makes a massive positive impact on the game theory of the animal farm. But then the issue, let me see, how's this? but then the issue, but we just have a reduced value on drip. So we had to think about how we are going to maintain or improve the value of drip use in the animal farm. What we decided to do with moving drip BUSD to the dogs mastership contracts, now you are farming dogs, which has the vesting model. So you are being rewarded in the asset that has a vesting model, which encourages you to use the dogs to farm BNB or pigs. We are going to have an increased multiplier on the drip BUSD farm. So the most efficient way to farm dogs will now be with drip. If you look at the pigs mastership, drip was the lowest multiplier to earn pigs. On the dogs mastership, drip is the highest multiplier. So people will be more likely to get and use drip to earn dogs. This is bullish for the drip BUSD farm. Drip BUSD will have the highest multiplier to earn dogs. People will come in and look at how to earn dogs the most effective way possible, and they will see that the drip BUSD farm will do that for them. They will see that they can add liquidity for using the Liberator contract, and they will see that the drip farm has a lower overall in and out fee, so it's very attractive. So this is a bullish change for pigs because the only way to get pigs now is to buy them or use dogs to farm them. and dogs has the vesting model. So again, it's there's a method to the madness, right? There's a strategy behind all this, right? So how does this change? How does now this is big right here? How does this change benefit drip? Because you're probably sitting there wondering, okay, I'm holding drip. I got a bag of drip. I'm in the faucet. How does this help me? Right. Um, well, it says here it has the highest multiplier of all the non-native staking on the farm. So on face value, people will see that it farms the most dogs on the farm. So I'll use it. Then they can add liquidity tax free. Boom, they're in. Most efficient way. It's the most efficient way to earn dogs. Made an additional improvement to add more value to drip. With drip BSV farm, they are changing the fee structure slightly, and this will add sustained buy pressure on drip and provide relief for the faucet dividend model. So again, it's going to increase buy pressure because people are going to want to buy it, obviously, right? I mean, just right. This is a. I mean, I'm kind of baffled me why they didn't think about this, during the last 6 months where they were going through this relaunch. But I think Forex already had thought about this. He just didn't know how to implement it, and he didn't see the opening to implement it. At least that's kind of what I get from it. Previously, it was a 1% in and out fee for Drip BUSD farm, which was less than all the other farms. Now the in and out fee is going to be 1% in, 2% out. Especially the previous model was taking the drip BUSD fees, unpairing it, and sending the drip to the tax vault. We know that when it did this for the previous version of the farm, it pumped the price of drip. Part of the reason was that there was an incentive to buy drip, but also the tax vault was being increased, which was putting relief on the drip token because no minting required. So the increased fee out will have a positive effect on drip and its ability to pay out without minting. So yeah, very, very, very smart. The new model does the same thing, but on jet fuel, because not only is it because the drip that's being collected by the fee, it's also now going to the, it's also now going to take the BUSD that it gets and buy drip with it and sending that to the tax vault as well. So it's going to 3x to 4x the amount of drip being sent to the vault while adding consistent buy pressure to drip. This will have a massive positive impact on drip. Okay, so again, is it worth taking a couple of extra days to launch? In the short term, people are emotional, people are upset, they're frustrated, they're confused, maybe, right? And I get it, I understand, right? Obviously, I'm with you, right? But in the long run, right? 6 months, a year from now, a year and a half, 2 years, right? It was a positive thing to do now for the long term, for the long run. Make sense, right? So again, Forex is willing to, take a couple of extra days to implement this change because he knows down the road what it's going to do for not only drip but for the ecosystem, and obviously what it's going to do for us, right? Because obviously, if the value of drip is going up, your daily passive income is going up, your bags are being pumped. It's just, it's good, good all around. Of course, we can't see that now because we're all frustrated that the thing didn't launch. But you gotta kind of step back a little bit and look at the big picture, right? So, Sarah, this is a major improvement for both drip and Animal Farm. The one thing stopping the team from making a change like this was they couldn't think of a good way to how to provide significant value and a strong presence in the farm if they took away the ability to earn pigs with it. The thorn in the side of the game theory was that you could earn pigs with drip and basically skip the proper game theory. Pigs will be that much more difficult to earn now and therefore rarer, right? Which is good. If you're holding pigs, you want it to be rare, right? Like I got over 530 pig tokens staked in the pig pen. I'm happy that this is, the token, the way this is gonna play out, it's gonna be more rare, right? That helps. Okay. Anyone earning pigs is adding value for dogs, and they're using dogs to farm pigs. When the launch didn't go as planned on the 18th, Forex saw it as an opportunity to make the change because the farm wasn't able to go live by the deadline. Forex decided to jump in and make the change now or never, right? So again, it wasn't going to launch on the 18th anyway, for not for this reason, but because of the drip liberation, the drip liberation, right? So again, he saw the opening since it wasn't going to launch anyway. Let's make these changes, right? Since we can't launch anyway. So is this year, why didn't the farm go live on the 18th? Was a few things all coming together that prevented the farm going live. One of the core devs 3 weeks prior to launch, like BB, right? He disappeared, and this put added pressure on the team. It meant they couldn't get into the cloud hosting as he had the access. That dev took responsibility for this publicly, and Forex appreciated that. He's a good guy and a friend of Forex's, and they were able to work through it all, but it did affect the launch, unfortunately. So again, I believe they parted ways professionally, right? BB's no longer part of this, but he's a good dev, and he was one of the reasons why this thing was so successful in the beginning. Very competent. He was Forex's partner. Okay, but because they parted ways professionally, um, he had access to some things that I guess Forex didn't, and that kind of messed things up, right? Um, so So here's the plan. It says your forward plan. The game theory change was implemented yesterday, and they are now testing it themselves. And with an auditor over the weekend, they will put it live on a test net, which will allow people to access it as if it was live. This should give confidence that this is performing as it should, which is the number one thing. Security, decentralization, and functionality, they are all number one considerations. You will also see that it's all up and working. Putting it live on a testnet is a change they are making so that people can have confidence that everything is ready, right? So again, when they'll make that testnet available, I'm not exactly sure. Possibly they'll let people in the DAO test it out. I think that's what they've done before in the past with some things. So we'll see how that pans out. But that should happen this weekend. This year they will get an additional audit done, even though the change is small from a coding perspective. Removing a farm from Pig's Master Chef and adding it to Dog's Master Chef, we will still get the code audited. On Tuesday, which is the possible launch day, they're going to unpause the token and you'll see the site go live. Okay, so again, we'll see, right? Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, possibly Thursday, but hopefully sometime this upcoming week, we'll have this thing squared away and we can go live, okay? Says here, he will open up the chat. He encouraged people to be positive in the chat. For someone who has been working 18 hours a day to get us to this point and making the really tough decisions, he'd appreciate it if people could consider the value that has come out of this change. Right, so it says here a note from Forex on delayed launches. People know that all of our competitors have had issues, right? A lot of these competitors have had issues, right? And they've lost investor capital. I myself have lost my capital in some of these other things, right? We've never had that happen to us because when it comes time to do something and anything is wrong, we don't feel right, we will not launch, right? So they're just not going to launch for the sake of launching because they said they were going to launch. Obviously, in a perfect world, that would be the case. But if they feel like it's not right or there's something going on or something needs to get fixed, they will not launch, right? It says here, nobody likes delays. Nobody hates them more than I do, but I'm not going to launch it if it doesn't feel right. What's important to Forex is everything is secure and functioning properly. People hate delays, but they appreciate it later when the project is still paying out, still performing, and they were able to go into it worry-free, knowing that they put in the work and secure and working properly, right? No exploits, none of that, right? So again, that's a great point actually, right? People hate delays, nobody likes them. It's frustrating, but people are happy a year from now, right? A year and a half from now, when the platform is doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's working perfectly fine, no exploits, no nothing like that. None of these things that we've seen happen with some of these other projects, right? So it says here, people will be upset for many days, but when the farm is working as intended in a week's time, and we are outperforming the rest of DeFi, I guess it said people will be happy at that point. Forex is willing to take heat for a few days in order to make a few years of great performance. Forex will do what he needs to make investors their money, and there are sometimes sacrifices. Okay, so it says here, we have turned the initial delay into a delay that has improved the platform. So we are coming back with more value. Here's one thing I wanted to kind of hit on here. It says that there was a comparison to Hex, right? So a lot of you guys are familiar with Hex. with the 2% out fee, taking those LPs and splitting them and using the BUSD to buy drip means you were removing BUSD from the sell side and adding it to the buy side. This is what Hex did. This was their secret to how they did 10,000x. Hex was being removed from circulation, but more importantly, Richard held 90% of the liquidity, and he was able to remove liquidity manually. So removing the USD from the sell side of the book and using that USDC to add to the buy side of the book, then taking that Hex and staking it, he did that manually. This had a compound positive effect on Hex, and you guys probably remember that. Hex was going through it was going parabolic, right? It was going crazy, right? A lot of you guys made money with Hex. I made a fortune with Hex, right? It was insane, right? Says here there are a lot of differences between us and Hex in this regard, and one of them is that there isn't an individual deciding to do these actions. Also, with Hex, when that Hex was bought and removed from circulation into Richard's stake, it reduced the APY for everyone else. In our case, it's being sent to the faucet vault, which just makes it easier for the drip system to pay out everybody's rewards. It doesn't take rewards away from anybody, right? So again, that's bullish, right? That's huge right there. If you understand that, you might have to kind of go through that and review that a little bit, but that's pretty awesome. Now, am I saying that this is going to do a 10,000x just like like heck? I'm not saying that, right? But if it just multiplies, if it does from where it is right now, if it just does, a 3x, 4x, 5x, never mind a 10,000x. I mean, think about what your passive daily income would be, right? It would be, think about what your potential passive income would be. It would be crazy, right? So anyway, that's what's going on. That's what's going on right now. So shout out to Irene for putting together these notes. A lot of times when Forex does an AMA, people are on the road, they're traveling, they're on planes, they're in cars, they're at their job, they have businesses to run, and having these notes put together is just great because people can catch up. So again, shout out to Irene for doing that. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very exciting week this upcoming week. Again, for me, I'm hoping that everything goes and works out, but I'm not sitting there, staring at my screen. We're making money with the faucet. We're, building our accounts. We're building our position. We're hydrating. We're doing what we need to do with the faucet. And when this thing is ready to go, it'll be ready to go. But I'm not sitting there. I'm going to continue to make money with the other parts of the ecosystem and, other things that I do in general. So hopefully you got some value from this. Hopefully it gives you a little bit more understanding of what occurred and what changes, what these changes are for and why it's good for drip. And you can be a little more patient. Be a little patient. We all have to practice that, right? I myself too. I gotta be patient. I gotta be way more patient, with a lot of things in my life. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Anyway, if you want to check out Drip or the Faucet or any of these things, I will leave links down below. Again, do your own research, guys. Do your own due diligence. If you're gonna get into this, again, only put in funds you can afford to lose. And that's pretty much it for this update, guys. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.